Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Ball Podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark. We're back with the news hour. We're a little early today if you're watching live. As I explained, if you're coming in live, I will be streaming Bond after this, probably starting at 8 p.m. Or maybe a little earlier, depending on how long this goes. So if you're listening to this recorded, doesn't mean anything to you. But if you are coming in live, that is what is going on. Hope you've had a fun day. It is the first day of June for those of you listening on Monday. So we are through May, and we're into SGF, E3, whatever you want to call it, season. I am excited. This is my favorite time of the year for video games. It's gotten smaller and smaller. It's one of these things where I wish one day, I don't know if we'll ever be big enough, probably not, but I would love to find a way to get into a Summer Games Fest thing to go try out games. I don't know exactly how to get a press pass, and I'd have to get to Los Angeles. And it's a weird time of year for work, so, we'll just play it by ear. We'll see how it goes. Maybe someday. Getting into it. We'll learn about the games, and then in 2 months, John Madden comes down from his mountain and allows all the fall games to release. And then everybody is, as we will have a story, is getting the fuck out of the way of GTA. Even if there was a rumored delay of GTA, but never really official yet. But yeah, one game got the fuck out of there this week. So we'll have that report. But yeah, I think we're ready. What has Mark been playing? For those of you that are on the stream, watch me every week, we're starting 007 First Light. We're going to be playing part 2 after this stream. But through the first hour and a half, which I think is mostly tutorial, I am obsessed with this game. I think the voice acting has been spectacular. The dialogue has been really good. The story so far of Bond has been amazing. Because I love origin stories for Bond, like when they do the first in the series. The Brosnan one, doing in media res, and when he's already 007, is sort of okay. Craig becoming 007 at the beginning of Casino Royale was fun. I think the end of this game is when he will get 007. So hopefully it's a series going forward. If I remember correctly, and I don't know how strict they'll be here, to get 007 status, I believe you need 2 confirmed kills. I don't know if of targets or specifically or just anybody. But I remember that's at the beginning of Casino Royale, when he's having that black and white conversation with the whoever he sent to kill there. And the guy goes, you're not even a 00 agent. You need 2 confirmed kills for that. And he says something like, no, 1 or something. And then he realizes, and he goes, well, who's the other one? That shows him killing a guy in the bathroom beforehand. And then he kills that guy, and then he's 007. I feel like this is going to be more spread out than that. I don't know if they'll stick by that rule. IO has said that it's their telling of an origin story, so I don't know if they'll be specific about that. I don't even know if the book is specific about that. It's just they've done that for multiple Bonds. So it's just one of those things that might have been like, somebody did it 40 years ago and was like, yep, that's the thing. But anyway, game-wise, game feels really good in terms of the mechanics. I like the fighting so far. The driving, I can probably be better at. I'm playing a lot of Forza, so we'll get to that in a second. So I feel like I could be better at the driving in this. It feels like it's like Hitman crossed with Uncharted so far. The most frustrating thing is playing the game, and then I was watching a couple streamers play, and me, as you know, you've all watched me play a ton of games on TV. Your boy, not a high-end gamer, not known for being the skill gamer. Somehow, I got the achievement for never being spotted in the first mission. I watch all these streamers that are like beat things on, you know, European difficulty for, you know, Metal Gear Solid and all, and they're like going, "Oh, what is this? Is that one of my guys?" And they're just walking over and getting caught, or seeing the bar come up at the bottom like for Hitman, and not having any kind of urgency to do it. That's the only frustrating part. Is I was like, I went through that first mission. I was like, that's kind of easy. You just follow the path. You don't try to. I guess these people were trying to have, you know, their own story with it and playing it more like a Hitman than what they were trying to present to you. It's the one problem I've seen. I don't know if anybody else has seen this too while watching people play games. Is the people that don't want to follow, like, think they're missing something or don't want to follow the tutorial for the tutorial mission, and it makes them get frustrated at the game. And I'm just like, just follow what they're doing. You know, there might be a secret along the way. You'll see it. They'll make it obvious. Like there's these two things. There's the cuneiform card key, which is, you know, there, and then there's the 7 of acorns or something like that. Is another thing that is a special thing that you can get along with, you know, probably other collectibles along the way. But yeah, that first mission was if you played an Uncharted and you played a Hitman, then you should be able to get through there without getting touched. It was kind of weird seeing people die in that scene, and then complaining about the stealth. I'm like, it's simple stealth. Just because it doesn't have a vision cone or anything, like, obvious, man. Anyway, then we get to the training montage, which is my favorite thing that I've seen in video games, probably since, or new takes on something, probably in a long time. I was going to say the parry in Expedition 33, but that's not on the same level of what this is. It essentially teaches you the game while going through a montage. Instead of just watching the montage, you're doing the montage and learning all the little steps, all the little mechanics. Like, you can shoot a guy's leg so you can run over and disarm him, or you can shoot his hands so that he drops the gun and then you can punch him. You can throw your gun at them and then knee them to disarm them. Just showing you all that. You run in an obstacle course, you can see there's multiple ways to get through something. You don't need to follow the colored path. The driving, it's teaching you that there might be shortcuts along the way. While also learning how to drift, e-brake drift mostly. Yeah, and you learn all that, and then you learn the fighting. It's kind of like Batman combat. If you play on the highest level, they don't do this. But it's sort of when the yellow flashes, you can parry it into like a knee strike or a punch. When it flashes red, you dodge. And then when they're not flashing anything, you can grab them. Or you can charge them and knock them down. If you're in a room full of people, that might be a way to do it. Like, knock someone down, grab, throw, you know. Just try and clear space. I haven't gotten to a mission with that yet. We'll probably get to one tonight. But yeah, and the shooting feels fine. I mean, it's a controller shooter. So, while I'm not good on mouse and keyboard, it's got the same hiccups that using a controller would do. So, you just, you know, have the aim. You know, there's probably sensitivity stuff you can change. I don't really touch that stuff. But overall, the shooting feels good so far. I like this Bond. This Bond is really good. Even though the books, I always bring this up as sort of like a push the glasses up, will actually thing, is that the Ian Fleming books, I believe he is blonde hair, blue eye. He's supposed to be like of like Baltic descent, like Czech Republic, like area, if I remember correctly, like somewhere in there. So blonde hair, blue eye, you know, sort of look. But all the most famous Bonds outside of Craig, really, were brunettes, and this one's a brunette as well. Probably more of a dirty blonde, but yeah, they hit the mark. The Moneypenny is perfect. That voice actress is really good. The look is really good for her. I love female M. I think Dame Judi Dench is the best M in the entire series, and I've seen every movie. And I think she's the one that gets it the most. She gives it the most Ray Fiennes is fine in the newer ones after, Skyfall. Um, and the older ones are just there for fodder. They're not really, they're good actors, they're good British actors, but they're not really there for, your like to give it that pathos or, from GoldenEye through Skyfall. She is spectacular in that role, and I think a female M works a lot better. Just in the sense of who Bond is. I feel he would have more respect for a woman in power, at least the newer Bonds, than the older ones would. So I think the natural growth of that character. Maybe it's just because she was in so many movies that I just became, that just felt right. But this actress is good as well. Only had her for 5 minutes, but we'll see. The Q is perfect. I was hoping they went with an older Q. Q being younger, sometimes it's fun, but I think it throws off the dynamic because I feel like an older person of that genius level doesn't seem like quirky or like in a weird way, like a cringe way, as the kids say. So I think they do a really good job with that Q. Gemma Chan as the other doctor who's going to teach you tech sim, which is basically just like redo the missions and see, like, I think it's going to be a sort of that thing to learn the mechanics better. Yeah, that's about it so far. I do love that the 2 locations so far have been, these aren't spoilers, so not worried about that. But, you open in Iceland and you train in Malta. Like, those aren't traditional, countries that we see in video games being portrayed. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. Obviously going to play it a lot tonight. Other outside of stream games, or like not our normal rotation, but been playing a lot of Forza in any downtime I had. The game has the quest system thing that I enjoy, like the checkbox thing. If you're going to give me an open world game like that you got to give me some checkboxes and some quest markers and things to go do. Because I'm not going to be like, yeah, just go do whatever. Race some people. Tell me, no, this kind of race. We're going to do this race here. We're going to have speed cameras there. We're going to do this here. Got barn finds over here, which I figured out the trick to barn finds, which I don't know if this was in 5, but essentially, and the people that play a lot of Forza maybe, will roll their eyes at this, but I figured I was like, oh, if you see a graveled wood like path within the zone where the barn find's supposed to be, that is like pretty good chance that will lead to the barn. And for the 3 I found, that's been precisely that. So you got to look. There's offshoots and things, so you just got to pay attention. But yeah, so far driving is great. I fully leveled up my Ford Raptor pickup truck. I love it because the special things on it are for destruction and wrecking ball and just the things that I do to gather points. And whenever when a skill song comes on, now that I've got it all leveled up, I can hit. I got a 1.1 million skill points. The last time a skill song came up, I just go to a wooded area and I just drive back and forth, up and down, jump, go sideways, drift, and just rack up them points. Do the kangaroo hopping because they're going so fast after a jump over hills, and just rack up those. See the numbers go up essentially by having that truck. Where the speed zones come into play, not the speed zones, the speed traps. I do have I think it's a Lamborghini. It might be a Porsche. I think it's a Lamborghini car that I just do that with. It's like 8.3 speed. So I just go and I get the 3 stars on those with that car. But yeah, the loop is great. The loop is much better than Horizon, than 5. I'm feeling this better. I like the locations better. I'm sort of understanding the map a little bit more. Mexico was a little weird in 5, but I think I'm going to stick with this one a lot longer than I did 5. So I'm excited, and it's fun being there at the beginning and chasing things with Tom. Um, I joked around with him where I what was it? I think it was a speed trap, my first speed trap. I went through and I got it and I eclipsed his speed and I was like, yeah, fuck you, Tom. When I did. He could probably come back and kick my ass right there again next time he went to that speed trap. But it's fun. It's fun being there at the beginning when people are caring about it. So yeah, we're doing a lot of good stuff with the Forza. So I'm having fun there. And the other thing, I played a whole bunch of FIFA 26, and that might be the best FIFA that I've played, or FC 26. My soccer team I cheer for in England won our first Premier League title in 22 years, so I was all soccered up. And then they went to the European Championship, the Champions League final. That was on Saturday. Unfortunately lost, so I didn't get to pop the second bottle of champagne I had in there. I bought little tiny bottles of champagne. They're like 2 glasses in it. And I was hoping to, open those on Saturday, but did not. But I've been playing a lot of FIFA, and the thing I found that, early news hour for Bond, correct. We're going to be playing some Bond at 8 o'clock or whenever this gets over, if this runs long. That Metal Militia popped into the chat for the audio listeners out there. So I've been playing some FIFA. I found the way I tuned it a little bit, and I make it 3-minute matches, and it keeps the scores low. Like, I'm not winning 9-0 anymore. Maybe 3-4, and some I've gotten a draw. I've only scored 1 goal in a game. So keeping the low minutes and the little tweaking I did is making it a more fun experience. So I'm fun with that. And then what we streamed, UN Squadron, I'm surprised how much I love that game. That game is so much fun. I can't wait to play it tomorrow. And it's one of those games where I know we're doing infinite continues because it's just one of those pain in the asses. You wouldn't want to see me keep playing the same levels over and over and over and over again, like we did the first part. But it's one of those kind of like Dark Souls in this sense that when I defeat a level that I've been banging my head against, it's that when it happened, like when I beat those 3 stealth fighters, in that one side mission. So I'm just excited. I can't wait to. I think there's 2 maps on there if I remember correctly from Smite. Playing through it, so I can't wait to get through all that. It should be like 3 or 4 more streams if I'm good. And then Trails. I wanted to finish Trails yesterday, and then we got through the first half of the 8th chapter, and it was already over 2 hours, and I'm like, if there's another 2.5 hours to the second half of this chapter, we didn't even do any main story stuff. It's all the side stuff to clean up, which I'm doing. It was already and I'm like, no, we'll do it next week. Because once we finish up chapter 8, chapter 9, I believe is just like the final dungeon. So we should be able to do that all in one night. That'll probably be, if not this Saturday, next Saturday. I got to look at Summer Games Fest schedule to see if I'm even going to be streaming a game on Saturday or we're going to be streaming press conferences or something. It's like 1 or 2 weeks left. We should be done pretty easily. We're almost all level 70. My main 3 are level 80. So I'm trying to keep it as close as possible to make it, as good as it can be. Going forward. I want to be done because I want to play Neo Fantasia soon. And I think there. I forget the exact name of the game, but the game next week that I'll be starting at some point, hopefully. That's a nice time for that update to come out. I I'm interested. I would like to hear, Night Duck, your thoughts on the last Destiny update when it comes out on 6/9, so that the audio listeners can get my joke from earlier. Yeah. So next week's gonna be busy, but I'm loving it. It's Summer Games Fest week. I'm probably gonna get no sleep for the most part, especially on the weekend with Giant Bomb doing their live couch thing. That's always a fun time. And yeah, that's about all I've been playing. Tomodachi Life. Yeah, Tomodachi Life. We had a marriage. Cynthia Rothrock married Anna Nicole Smith. Yeah, we had a wedding ceremony. I think Barbarella sang at it. I think that's who was the singer. Yeah, so that's all on the channel. Should be up on YouTube soon. But yeah, we're moving along. I am rooming with Malibu. I think it's me and Malibu. Yeah, are rooming together. Ant is getting pretty close to possibly dating or marrying Barbarella. And then we created the People's Joker. My paint job is not great, as I thought it would be, but it looks good enough with the green hair. So plugging along. That'll still be a game every Friday until we get bored of it, essentially. But so far, great things have been happening each week, and it's only an hour. So, and we, it was an hour and a half this week because it took me so long to do the People's Joker. But yeah, so I think, that's all I've been playing. It's going to get busy. There's a game next week. I think it's called like Terratech Legion, which I heard things from Brad Shoemaker on Nextlander had mentioned that it's sort of like Vampire Survivors meets Nuts the Bolts. So I am excited to see that. Yeah, so I think we are all ready for the news. And that first story, which is the big one this week, Valve has announced that the Steam Deck is the latest price of gaming tech to receive a price increase, with both models increasing in price by over 40%. From today, which was May 27th, the 512 gigabyte OLED model is now $789, and the 1 terabyte model will be $949. Before the announcement, the 5 gig model was $549, and the 1 terabyte model was $649. So a 250 or 260, 250, 240, I think it's 240. A $240 increase for the 512 and a $300 increase for the 1 terabyte. This increase represents 46% increase for the 1 terabyte model, and a 43% price increase for the 512 gigabyte model. Both models are now back in stock on Steam after a period of intermittent availability. Valve addressed the price increase in a short statement posted to the Steam community page. Steam's Deck itself hasn't changed. These new prices reflect the current state of component costs and other global logistic challenges across the industry. As a whole, we'll keep you updated if anything changes. And just like earlier this month, Nintendo announced what Sony did and Microsoft did. So this was the last console to update the prices. And a RIP Steam machine. If that thing comes out, that thing will be well over $1,000 at this point. But yeah, so this literally, the fun thing watching this during the week was that it dropped during like a couple podcasts as they were recording, and just the it looks like we're gonna have some extra news this week. But yeah, this is insane. Yeah, the this little thing at the end of the story I just noticed. The average price of a new video game hardware in the U.S. in November 2019 was $235, compared with $439 in November 2025. That's insane for 6 years. It usually goes the other way. Especially, they were both in times right before or that a new, like late in a cycle for systems. So it'll be, yeah, I don't know. The prices probably won't go down to the levels we knew before, but I don't know if they'll come down at all. It's always that thing, is if people start buying it at the high price, what's the point in bringing it down? Still make their money. Yeah, so if you didn't get a Steam Deck, well, good luck to you. Save a little bit more money. For those of you who don't want to switch too, you have till September 1st to get it at the cheaper price. So run out and get it. All right, next up, the game I talked about earlier, Fable has been delayed to 2027. In a social media post from the official Xbox account, the company said that it had made the decision so that Fable can have the dedicated moment it deserves, which is likely in reference to GTA 6 launch later this year. This is a year. This is a year, I'm assuming, or this year. I don't think this is supposed to be here. This year is packed with incredible games for Xbox players to enjoy, from Halo Combat Evolved, Gears of War E-Day, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, to Control Resonant, Star Wars Galactic Racer, and Grand Theft Auto 6, it wrote. In order to plan our game launches through the holidays in a way that works best for players, we're moving Fable to February 2027 so it can have the dedicated moment it deserves. We're excited to be giving players a major new look at Fable, as well as our broader lineup at Xbox Games Showcase on June 7th. Matt Booty, the Chief Content Officer at Xbox, claimed in a new video posted to Xbox YouTube channel that, despite the delay, the game is in great shape. The team feels really good. We're excited about where the game is. We want to make sure that the game has a window all to its own. So, not a surprise there. As I said earlier, we're going to start getting the delays for people. Now that it looks like, for the most part, GTA might be set in November, that more games are going to start to get out of the way. Because it's going to be a tour de force. It's going to be a vortex of games not getting coverage because of GTA. Yeah. So moving on. Next up, first leaks coming through. I didn't grab all the leaks because there were things I didn't even want to look at. But Rayman Remake and Remaster leaked ahead of expected reveal. According to a listing that briefly appeared on the Xbox Store, a remaster of Ubisoft's 2011 platformer Rayman Origins is in the work. According to the now pulled listing, archived by social media users, Rayman Origins Enhanced Edition will feature 4K 60 FPS visuals and modern quality of life improvements. It will also include content previously exclusive to the PS Vita version, according to the listing. The store listing follows a report claiming that Ubisoft is planning a larger remake of the 2013 title Rayman Legends. According to Deal Labs, Rayman Legends Retold is being developed by Ubisoft Montpellier, with an October release planned. Among the expected new features is an online multiplayer cooperative mode, and for up to 4 players simultaneously, it claimed. The original game featured offline multiplayer only. According to Deal Labs, Legends Retold will have a physical edition for PS5 and Nintendo Switch 2, and will likely be revealed during this week's PlayStation State of Play. Yeah, so for those of you out there that are into the Rayman series, looks like you're going to get a couple more games out of it, and we'll find out more about it on Tuesday. Remember, we will be talking over that State of Play a little bit later, since it starts at 5, and at least myself get out of work at 5. So by the time I get home and get settled, probably like 6:30, we'll do the whole thing. I'm going to be on social media blackout, so I'm excited to see if these things do come through here. So, next up, Square Enix scraps original Dragon Quest XII, will now release Dragon Quest XII Beyond Dreams. Square Enix has announced that Dragon Quest XII's development has been rebooted, and the game will now release as Dragon Quest XII Beyond Dreams. Originally announced as Dragon Quest XII The Flame of Fate, the game has been restarted and now features a completely different protagonist and storyline than the originally announced game. Square Enix announced 5 new Dragon Quest games back in 2021, one of which was Dragon Quest XII. Last year, series creator Yuri Hora claimed that Square Enix was still working hard on Dragon Quest XII and that he planned to release more information about the game little by little. Fans tuned into today's Dragon Quest 40th anniversary stream hoping to hear more about the upcoming RPG. Few were expecting what is seemingly a complete reboot of the title. As the game still doesn't have a release date, Square Enix did, however, share an image of the protagonist. And alongside the announcement of Dragon Quest XII Beyond Dreams, Square Enix announced that Dragon Quest Monsters, The Withered World, is coming to Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. And that Echoes of an Elusive Age, Dragon Quest XI-S, will also be coming to Switch 2 on September 24th. Yeah. What I think happened with Dragon Quest XII here, just from the things I picked up since this, I watched the announcement, and it was only 10 minutes, so I didn't really feel the need to stream it. And then watching the old one, remembered, I think the original one may have been too dark for the powers that be at Dragon Quest, and I think they want to go with something that it's a little more lighthearted than what that original announcement sounded like. And I think they got cold feet about going a little bit of a darker edge with it, and then just decided to reboot everything instead of try and fix the one they were working on. So yeah, I think it's completely from scratch. I think the bad sign is that they needed to reboot and didn't have an update for us for 5 years on the reboot. Well, yeah, I think that ties into what I'm saying, is that they don't understand that, doing something different with a series is actually a good thing, and just want the Dragon Quest all to look the same. Because that's Dragon Quest. Why would we do anything different? While they let Final Fantasy do whatever, and everything is different every time. It's just weird. But yeah, so, yeah. I wouldn't put it past Squeenix execs, as you say, being incompetent. But yeah, I feel a little cold feet as well, for what seemed like a darker title. So, moving on. 007 First Light is already IO's fastest selling game ever. 007 First Light is off to a strong start commercially, with developer IO Interactive claiming 1.5 million sales in the first 24 hours. That means that the James Bond title, which is out now for consoles and PC, is the fastest selling game in IO Interactive's history, the company said. According to Alina Analytics, estimates at least a third of the 1.5 million sales came on PC via Steam, and a third of players have also played IO's other action series, Hitman. China is the number 2 Steam market for First Light so far, with 18% of players, second only to the US, 29%, according to Alina. The strong sales momentum follows positive critic reviews for the Bond title, with many outlets, including VGC, Video Games Chronicle, where we're getting this story from, awarding it top marks. The milestone of 1.5 million units sold in 24 hours reflects overwhelming global enthusiasm for 007 First Light and represents a significant achievement for IO Interactive, the game's developer said. With an 88 OpenCritic rating and an 87 Metacritic score, 007 has both been embraced by critics and players alike, already establishing itself as one of 2026's most successful games. The The sales recorded across all platforms underscore the game's broad appeal and the successful execution of IO Interactive's vision to honor Bond's legacy in gaming. Yeah, funny what a Bond license could do with a decent publisher. I mean, hell, Nightfire was good back in the day. But yeah, I think the thing they learned is it's better to do your own story and don't try to do a movie story. I think GoldenEye might be the only one where that works. And I think that has a lot more to do with, the time and place it was released on Nintendo 64. So, but yeah, doing a great story, your own story, and not tying it to a movie where people can be, and not needing like a license for the actor as well, goes a long way. I can't wait to play more of this game. All right, next up, Xbox CEO claims Game Pass price cuts are working. A good first step. Xbox new CEO Ashish Sharma has claimed that a recent price reduction to some Game Pass tiers has yielded positive results for the platform holder. In a note to staff published by The Verge, Ashish Sharma claimed that last month's price reductions for Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass had resulted in net positive signups for the service. Growth slowed down and subscriber loss accelerated after the pricing and SKU changes last year, Sharma wrote. Since our price reduction, we have seen acquisitions grow and retention improve, which is a good first step. However, Sharma went on to claim that there were challenging times ahead for Game Pass service overall. We will not solve this in one moment or one launch, she said. We will have to work out the problem in front of us in our path to restore durable growth. In the same memo to staff, Sharma also touched on her recent decision to rebrand Xbox to Xbox. We are building a stronger Xbox. That means making harder choices about what we build, where we invest, and what kind of company we need to be going forward. She wrote, this part of what you are starting to see is the shift from Xbox to Xbox. It reflects the decision to be deliberate in how we show up for the players who care most about the brand. And as always, to mention, Microsoft is still part of the BDS boycott. So, keep that in mind when making any of your purchases. Yeah. It's so much like corporate speak and all of that. I really just read the whole story all the way down just so I could scream Xbox, because now that they're writing it all in capital letters. I think we had talked about this before. If you care about Xbox Game Pass, just from a thought, experiment thing, I'm saying they're gonna have to go a la carte. If it's $20 a month, you pick the 3 services you want. Do you want game one Xbox games? Sure. Do you want the 500 pass games? Sure. Do you want EA Play? Do you want Ubisoft Plus? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that too. Because you need PlayStation Plus and Game Pass, since they brought it all together, gold and all into one, to be able to play online. That's why Silver and Gold on 360 worked for the most part, because people get Silver just to play online, and Gold if they wanted the free games. But I think if they're going to do Game Pass going forward, like I said, it's got to be a la carte. You give 3 of the services and you get to check a box. I don't know how that would work on the back end with paying for the services, but I think that's the best way to do it, because I would just check the box of, what I originally was paying for at the $19.99 price. Day one Game Pass games, the back library, and EA Play. I don't need Ubisoft Plus. I don't need the other stuff that's on there. I don't need the... I think there's a thing for Fortnite on there. I don't need that. So. Yeah, I think that's the way going forward. And if you want to do a la carte, like they each cost something, that's even more insane. But I think it's more just having checkboxes with it. And next up, sticking with Xbox news or Microsoft, Activision confirms Call of Duty Warzone is shutting down on last-gen PlayStation and Xbox. The shutdown will coincide with the launch of Modern Warfare 4's first season of content later this year, Activision announced. Modern Warfare 4 is set to be the first modern Call of Duty game released only for current-gen consoles, and thus support is being removed from older platforms. From June 4th, Call of Duty will be removed from PS4 and Xbox One storefronts, Activision said, and in-game purchases will stop. However, the game will remain playable until the release of Modern Warfare 4's first season, with Battle Pass content able to be unlocked. After the release of Season 1, Warzone will no longer be playable on PS4 and Xbox. According to Activision, Season 1 will begin shortly after Modern Warfare's release on October 23rd, kicking off a major year of content and seasonal experiences. As is traditional, Warzone will integrate progression and content from the premium game. Announced today via Activision Live Service, developer Infinity Ward confirmed that its new gritty and authentic Call of Duty will be set in Korea and will also release on Switch 2 for the first time. So I had missed that. So we'll probably talk about it when we're doing Summer Games Fest stuff. And exactly. But yeah, they decided, hey, we only make two kinds of these games now. They're either Black Ops or they're Modern Warfares. We're not going to try it. I watched a little bit of a playthrough of Infinite, which is the one in space, and I'm like, yeah, let's take some more chances. That looks fucking rad. Maybe it didn't play, but just like, yeah, it's something different. It's not the same thing. But as most COD players probably just want the same thing over and over again. So, you know, it's those of us that play other games along with playing Call of Duty that would like them to take risk. All they want to do is, I want men in military on Earth shooting people, and they better look different than me. No, I made that last part up, but it's probably not far from the truth. So I'm excited to see if there's a trailer pops up on Summer Games Fest or during the Sony or Xbox, probably Xbox stream. Next up, PlayStation confirms shutdown of early PlayStation 5 exclusive. Sony Interactive Entertainment has confirmed it will soon shut down its early PS5 exclusive, Destruction All-Stars. The car combat title was developed by British studio Lucid Games and was released in 2021 and received mixed reviews from the media. On Tuesday, PlayStation announced that the game has been removed from sale alongside its virtual currency and multiplayer servers have been closed. Single-player modes will remain accessible to existing users until November 25th. It said in a message to its players, after which only arcade mode single-player challenges shall remain. However, functionality and player experience may be impacted due to the server shutdown, the announcement reads. Due to ongoing technical issues, multiplayer services for Destruction All-Stars on PS5 consoles shall remain offline and are no longer available, Sony said. We appreciate the support of the community, of the Destruction All-Stars community. Destruction All-Stars was originally planned to be a $70 PS5 launch title, but its release was delayed, and Sony chose to make it available through PlayStation Plus at launch at no additional cost to subscribers for 2 months. Following this period, the game's price was set at $19.99. So I mainly pulled this story as a, hey, remember that game? I had forgotten all about it until I saw the headline here. I love that last paragraph I read. Fact is that they were originally going to make it a $70 game and then realized it was probably not going to sell, so they made it free for a little bit and then sold it for $20. And now they're just shutting it down. It lived a good time. I mean, it's, 4 years? You know, it was supposed to be a launch title, probably released in 2022. Made it to mid-2026. For a game that is basically forgettable for the most part. That's a good time. It's not like these games that come out and then are shut down within months. that had a lot more fanfare to them. But it's probably cheaper to run this than those games were. So, all right, next up, in sad news, Balattro's owner, PlayStack, sold to parent company Fandom Games, who owns Fandom, who owns GameSpot as well. Fandom and GameSpot's parent company, Integrated Media Company (IMC), is set to become the majority owner of Balatro publisher PlayStack. PlayStack's current owner, Turin, announced the proposed sale earlier this week, as noted by Game Developer. It told investors it had agreed to sell its 84.5% stake in the UK publisher to Vantage Co., direct subsidiary of IMC, for $151 million. If the deal is approved by shareholders, it means the indie game publisher will become part of the same ownership as entertainment brands such as Fandom, Screen Junkies, Fanatical, and GameSpot. PlayStack claims it has a hit ratio of more than 85%. The combined PlayStack catalog has grossed over $100 million on Steam and generated over 20 million downloads during its last fiscal year. Trufin CEO James Vandenberg said, "We believe in the disposal of PlayStack represents a milestone for Trufin and a clear demonstration of our disciplined approach to capital allocation and value creation." Oh, Jesus Christ. We thoroughly enjoyed working with PlayStack team over the last few years and look forward to them achieving future success. MC is a superb platform for next stage in PlayStack's journey. We wish the team at IMC well for the future. Yeah, so essentially a game. Yeah, it just sucks when these games that have good ideas. I think they make Raccoon as well, or maybe that was just the developer and not the publisher. They come up with these great games, and then all of a sudden they just get bought up by some VC, and the where was the line? The disciplined approach to capital allocation and value creation. Corporate speak is the fucking worst. But yeah, so hopefully this doesn't make Balatro have ads and shit on it or something, as every other Fandom site has. I love that anytime I find a Fandom thing, and I have ad blocker on, it goes, "Hey, can you turn ad blocker off to support the site?" And then there's a little tiny thing at the bottom. Yeah, and so there's a tiny little thing that says "Continue without supporting the site," and I click that immediately every time for Fandom. Yeah, and that's exactly what that phrase means. Is that they're gonna shut down PlayStack, you know. Anyway, moving on from sad news to something that's insane, but not too insane. Epic announces Unreal Engine 6, which will run the next era of Rocket League. When you ask me what game will they tag alongside Unreal Engine 6, Rocket League wouldn't have been one of the first 10 guesses that I had. Epic Games has announced Unreal Engine 6, the latest iteration of its popular game-making technology, and unveiled Rocket League as its first title. Announced during the Rocket League Paris Major in France this weekend, Epic debuted a minute-long trailer for what it called the next era of Rocket League. According to the trailer, the footage shown is running in real time in Unreal Engine 6, which is the first mention of the next-gen game engine, which sports a new purple logo. No further details on UE6 or the new iteration of Rocket League were unveiled, though many fans of the vehicle sports title will likely welcome the news since its current version, this is a crazy part, runs on the 2-decade-old UE3 engine. Unreal Engine 6 announcement comes 4 years after the initial release of UE5, which powers many modern games, including Epic's own Fortnite. It is likely that the engine will power many games planned for the next generation of consoles, which could be released as soon as next year. Yeah, so essentially, the reason that they, probably because they were doing this update is But that's the thing. The Rocket League thing sounds crazy when you mention it, but then you realize that Epic owns like Rocket League as well. So of course, if there's a game that they can push on this without having to pay a fee for it or get somebody to pay them, it's just easier to show this off with the game they own. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I think Fortnite was UE5 support early. No surprise at Rocket League, since it's on UE3 still. Would be getting the thing boosted up here. I don't know. Normally, if you follow the trend, I don't know how far back this goes, but I remember UE3 matched up with the Xbox 360 PS3 releases. 4 matched up with 4 and 1. And then 5 was kind of delayed. That might have been a pandemic thing or something weird. Right around the time, PS5 and Xbox Series X were announced. So, thinking 6 probably means the new systems are coming within the next year or two. It's usually a good, good sign that new consoles are on the way when the next Unreal Engine is announced. Don't know when a release will be, but, with this being worked on, that a PS6 could come next year, could come the year after. Xbox's thing could come in 2 years, but, they'll all be on UE6. Next up, in some fun Nintendo news, Donkey Kong 64 is finally coming to Switch Online's Nintendo Switch library next month. After years of fan requests, Donkey Kong 64 is the latest game to be added to Switch Online's catalog of Nintendo 64 games. Rare's 3D platformer will be added to Nintendo Classics on June 4th, bringing the total number of Nintendo 64 games available to the service to 43 in the West and 45 overall. Custom Robo and Custom Robo version 2 are Japan only. Released by Rare in November 1999, Donkey Kong 64 is an open-world 3D platformer that sees Donkey Kong rescuing his friends from King K. Rool, after which they too become playable, and was notorious for the sheer number of collectibles it boasted. It is also home to the first appearance of the DK Rap, the Grant Kirkhope composed song that plays during the game's intro and has become something of a fan favorite. Donkey Kong 64 was never released on Wii's Virtual Console service, but did make it to Wii U's Virtual Console in 2015. Because Wii U sales were low, however, a large number of Switch owners, this will be their first chance to legally play the game. Play the game since the original N64 release 27 years ago. So yeah, you DK64 lovers out there, you sickos, you will now be able to play this legally on your Nintendo Switch 2s. So, and if you want to, you have to get the expensive expansion pack online service as well. Remember that. All right, and finally, June's 3 PlayStation Plus free essential monthly games includes Xbox Game Studios' Grounded. June's selection consists of 3 games which are available for players from June 2nd to July 6th. Oh, good. They're leaving it for the most important day in July. The first of these games is Grounded Fully Yoked Edition, developed by Obsidian and published by Xbox Game Studios. Grounded was originally released back in 2020 as an early access game on Xbox and PC before getting its full release on 2022. It then came to PS4, PS5, Switch in 2024 as part of Xbox's move to make some of its first-party games multi-platform. Also included in June's selection is Nintendo All-Stars Brawl 2, a Smash Brothers style fighting game where various Nickelodeon characters fight against each other. Characters from such series as SpongeBob SquarePants, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Rocko's Modern Life, and Avatar all clash in fights for up to 4 players. And finally, the third game is Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide, a 4-player co-op action shooter set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe and developed by the team from the Vermintide series. All 3 games will be available to claim June 2nd until July 6th, at which point they will be replaced by another selection of titles. As ever, players who claim the games will be able to continue playing them after they're no longer available to claim, as long as they remain subscribed to any PlayStation Plus tier. Players continue to claim May's PlayStation Plus Essential games, Wu-Tang Fallen Feathers, and Nine Souls until the end of June 1st, and EA Sports FC until June 26th. So if you have the PlayStation Plus, you'll be getting 3 new games. Yeah, I think Essential is the lowest tier. So everybody should be getting these if you play online. So, all right. That will do it for the podcast. Yeah, it looks like 8 o'clock is going to be good for Bond. So, thank you all for joining me. We will be back. If you're watching this live, I'll be back in a half hour. If you're listening to this in the either audio version or on YouTube, we will be back tonight with UN Squadron on Monday, and then Tuesday we're going to start SGF week. We have the Sony State of Play on June 2nd. SGF is on June 5th. Xbox is on June 7th. I'm pretty sure Nintendo is going to do something in between that. Any other press conferences that come up, I'm going to try and figure out a schedule to sit here and do all of them. The great thing about this weekend is that I don't have to worry about, going to softball weekends or anything, which is the reason we missed some stuff last year. I no longer need to do that. So we should be good to get as much Summer Games Fest coverage as possible. So once again, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Naita. Thank you, Meta Militia, for joining me in the chat. And we will see you all next time. Bye!